Look at you, pressing play on a show that's technically about to end. Mad respect. Welcome to Cruise Through HTX. My name is Freddie Cruz, and this season is my love letter to Houston, to the people who built the city, and to the animals who secretly run all of our lives. Today, I'm not bringing on a guest. Today, this episode is story time. Back in the day, a couple of years ago actually, there was a podcast called Freddie's Huge Ask Podcast. Heavy on the pun, light on the strategy. It was me talking to anybody cool who would say yes. Authors, entrepreneurs, badasses with wild stories to tell, all crammed into one feed. On paper, it should have worked. Former radio guy, thousands of interviews under his belt, helped his previous employer get 2 Marconi Awards, over 17,000 hours behind the mic, yada, yada, yada. In reality, the numbers were horrible. Bi-weekly episodes, 2 a week, dozens and dozens of them. And I'm staring at the analytics at the end of the year thinking, is this it? This is the turnout for all this work that I put into this show? So I did what every creator does when the algorithm sends them a good backhand to the face. I blamed the show name, then the cover art, then the guests, then the platform, and then everyone. Eventually, I stopped yelling at the internet and asked a better question. What's the show I wish existed? And for me, the answer was obvious. Houston. The city that raised me, roasted me, and keeps trying to melt me every single August. So, I retired Freddie's Huge Ask podcast and launched Cruise Through HTX. Same host, me, sharper lens, definitely, less HR violation, Freddie's Huge Ass podcast? No, ask with a K. Anyways, Cruise Through HTX was more, this is about Houston. Authors, community leaders, doctors, chefs, and entrepreneurs whose stories are as wild, if not more wild, than I-10 at rush hour. And it worked. Listeners started showing up, guests said yes, and the conversations felt like real Houston. Messy, funny, smart, hungry. And then the pod bros arrived. Now, if you've ever spent any time dipping into the podcast internet, you've met them. The pod bros, the growth hack gurus, the I scaled my show to a bazillion downloads while meditating in a cryo chamber in less than 60 minutes guys. They had and still have opinions about everything. Weekly or you're dead. Daily or you're irrelevant. Solo episodes, no. Interview only. No. Narrative with sound design and a full Marvel budget. Clip 37 pieces of content from each episode. Post 8 times a day across 4 different social media platforms. Tattoo your RSS feed on your forehead. Meanwhile, real life was doing donuts in my driveway. You see, I'm running a podcast production company, producing for clients, writing, speaking, trying to be a present husband, dad, and full-time servant to a dog named Sparrow who believes he owns the house and allows us to pay him for living there. I tried to keep Cruise Through HTX on a bi-weekly cadence anyway. The guest scheduling universe, however, laughed in my face. I'm talking cancellations, no-shows, last-minute reschedules, Wi-Fi meltdowns. Don't you love those? Calendar chaos. And you know that moment when something you love quietly stops being fun and starts feeling like a group project with the kid who never shows up? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So I shelved the whole damn thing. Not with a bang, just silence in the feed. I mean, I told people I was taking a break, but I really had no idea how long I was going to take a break and what the next iteration of Cruise Through HTX was going to be. And that actually felt worse than a bad review. And here's the twist. Right as Cruise Through HTX was gasping for air, another idea was clawing at the door. Remember those pod bros? Right. Every time I saw some terrible LinkedIn hot take about podcasting, like your show should be 7 minutes, no 3 hours, read from AI and call it a day, I wanted to flip a table. Instead, I told myself, build the show you wish existed. That show became Your Mic. It was born October 2024, part mindset, part tactics, all about helping aspiring and new podcasters who are either just starting out or about 5 seconds away from blowing up their entire RSS feed. And that is where my obsession lives now, helping you craft a binge-worthy show, helping you ignore the noise, helping you play the long game instead of chasing some viral chart you'll fall off of in 3 days. But Cruise Through HTX kept staring at me from the corner. It didn't deserve a slow, moldy death in the archives. It deserved an ending. You don't ghost a city that gave you your voice. Literally. So I asked, if Cruise Through HTX gets one more season, what should it feel like? I decided that it should not be bigger or louder, but rather tighter, personal, visual. Episodes that are short enough to binge, rich enough to matter, and shamelessly Houston. And that is the idea for the final season, being centered around Powerhouse pet owners. These are friends and business owners whose animals absolutely, positively run the show. There's my buddy Ron Velez from Dewey Dog's Taxi, whose 3 dogs, Shaggy, Bella, and Mimi, own the house and let him pay the rent. He built a dog rideshare business because Houston is a giant dog city and those clients never complain unless you're slow with the treats. Then there's Travis Weaver of Man Ready Mercantile, who brought Delilah and then Indy into the store and into the brand. For him, dog care and business share the same backbone. Consistency, tiny routines done over and over, the unsexy habits that keep everything from turning into chaos. Then there's Samantha Elizabeth, who grew up in a literal rotating zoo. We're talking feed stores, a 13-foot snake named Lola, gators in the garage, and now uses pets as part of how she helps people manage stress. Her Cavapoo Sir Budwick III and her cat Daisy Bell are furry mirrors for boundaries, play, and not pretending to be perfect. Then there's Liz Hale, my friend. She runs Cake Fine Pastry with her husband. Her dog, Rihanna Francis, went from stray with a diaper in her mouth to full-blown family member and emotional support during empty nest season. This same woman had once baked 2,000 red velvet push pops for the Super Bowl under x-ray machines and Warren drama and still comes home to pay the cheese tax to a bougie dog who loves Gouda. And then there's Mega McSwain, a prolific food writer whose bylines live in your favorite places to find restaurant stories. We're talking Texas Monthly and Food Network. She's out covering chefs and menus by day, then coming home to dogs who do not care about her deadlines and absolutely care about whatever she brought back in that to-go box. Then there's my man Andy from Fido's Home. Someone who's taken care of my boy Sparrow for years, who loves him like his own, and who built a boarding business around that kind of devotion. You see, the people I'm talking about in this season, those are my people. They're building businesses, supporting families, grinding so hard in this city, and through all of it, there's a dog, a cat, a reptile, some little heartbeat that keeps them grounded. So what you're going to get out of this season is video-heavy episodes. Real Houston businesses, real Houston animals, no guru nonsense. Just stories about the pact we made with these beautiful creatures and how we are trying to honor it. Now here's where I land. My life's task is podcasting. That is definitely not hyperbole. It's the job, the craft, the obsession. Your Mic. That's my podcast about podcasting. It's where I help hosts stay in the game mentally, strategically, technically. Cruise Through HTX. That's this show you're listening to right here. It's getting the farewell it earned. A final season that feels like Houston. Scrappy, heartfelt, a little weird, okay, maybe a lot of weird, and full of animals we'd run back into a burning house for. If it feels like a breakup, it kind of is. But it's a good breakup, the kind where you both admit what you were, what you are now, and you walk away better for having done it all. This is the plan. The episode you're listening to right now is the prologue. The rest of the season, You'll meet Powerhouse pet owners from across the greater Houston area and hear how their animals shape their businesses, their families, and their sanity. You'll see it on video, YouTube, Instagram. You know the drill. And if you're along for the ride, hit follow, share this with your favorite Houston pet person, and maybe tell me about the animal that runs your life. Because around here, pets aren't just side characters. They are the co-founders. I'm Freddie Cruz. This is Cruise Through HTX, the final season. Powerhouse Pet Owners.